There we are. All right. What is up, everyone? Harry the Big Dog here. This is the DJ interview. Woo! I got that out. Yo, I usually have my intro in, but I'm just going to start this thing because I'm too excited to hear from our next guest. He is a native from Connecticut, tri-state area, if you're in the area. Let me bring on this dynamic dude. Now, we're going to find out a lot about him, but I'm going to say I listened to one of his mixes, and this was from back in the day. And he hasn't DJ'd in X amount of years. I ain't gonna put you on the spot. So let me bring on Dr. Rory T. Edwards. How are you doing, my brother?
Brian King, I'm doing amazing, brother. I thank you for having me on here to share a little bit of my journey.
Yes, yes, this is going to be a very good show because we've talked already.
Right.
And I think I was like, hold on. I don't want to hear no more. I want to be just as
Right,
surprised
right.
as everybody else. So
Absolutely.
if you are live, please let us know who you are and where you are listening from. If you're listening from the replay, still put in the chat in the comments where you are listening from and who you are. So officially, click. You like that, right?
I like that. Okay.
We're going to get this interview officially started. We got Seth checking in. What's up, my brother? And we're going to have a few people on here today. Ask questions in the chat. Ask questions in the chat. Let us know where you are from. We got Tim from Las Vegas.
My man. Appreciate it. My man. Yes, sir.
Worldwide, baby. So let's get this thing started. Now, let everybody know who you are, your government name, which I
Right,
already
right,
said, but we'll
right.
we'll hear it from you and it'll sound a lot better and more intelligent than me. Tell us your DJ name and how you got started in this DJ game.
Wow. Okay. That's going to be an interesting story. But my official government name is Rory T. Edwards. But due to the journey of what I have acquired over uh, a few decades, I do have that title of DR in front of that name. But it
Nice.
doesn't
Think
mean that I am what's the name, that I am not still connected to the people, right?
put a
Uh,
heart put a heart in that comment for that one.
Absolutely.
Dr. Rory T. Edwards.
It's been a struggle, it's been a journey, but it's been rewarding, right? But like you said, I'm from Connecticut. Most people who know about Connecticut know I'm from Hard Hitting. That was our name. That's how we made. That was our claim to fame. Hard Hitting, New Britain. But the DJ game was kind of interesting. Because I come from when it first started. I was around when it first started. When
Yes.
Herc and Bambata and all of those were putting it down. I was around then, and so it wasn't really popular in Connecticut as it was in New York, right?
Yeah.
Or a lot of people don't really know that it was just as popular in Philly. See, a lot of people sleep on Philadelphia. Philadelphia was putting it down back in the day just as hard as New York was during that time period. And
Right.
so, I used to go to Philly. I have family down at the South Jersey area. Used to go down there and go to the parties, and I just saw what those turntables could do for people,
Mm.
and I wanted to be a part of that, right? And so, the funny thing is that my little brother, His name is the DJ Grand Incredible. His name is Jerry Artis. He used to DJ. We went to Morgan State, and so we didn't have turntables, but what we did. Now I'm gonna tell people got to understand how hard this really is. We used
Right.
to make mixed tapes on cassette tapes.
Yes.
Yeah, so we would mix on a
I
cassette tape.
usually have that nostalgia here so people can actually see, but oh yes.
People who don't know about this game from the beginning don't know that we used to mix on cassette tapes. We used to mix on reel to reels, and we used to. So when I first went to Morgan, I had transferred in from Jackson State, so
Hmm.
I had to go to the local community college because I couldn't compete in sports at Morgan if I transferred in from another university. So I went in, and so during the day I would be home making a tape for him, and then I leave it on the counter, and I'd be like, "Now handle that." And so then by the time I came back in from school, he had made a counterattack, and then here goes the battle. We used to battle on these cassette tapes all day, every day, and that was part of our ritual. And then
Mm,
after that, we went into the Air Force. I ended up in Las Vegas. Sort of fell off the DJing a little bit, but had a partner. I ran into a partner here. His name was. I'm gonna mention a lot of people who helped me in this journey too. I ran into a
right.
partner. His name was Greg Pluck, and Greg. Um, had the turntables here in Las Vegas, and Las Vegas wasn't really cats weren't really putting the music down like they were back east, and
Hmm.
so we were
Now,
coaching Greg.
what year are we talking in Las
81,
Vegas?
81,
81.
yeah,
Wow.
and so we were put the music down a little bit, and then I tried to become an MC, right? So I realized that uh, I was an eloquent speaker, but I didn't have the ability to put those verses together that would make me an MC. So I went back into DJing, right? But then during my time, I sort of fell off. I sort of just stopped DJing, uh, just going to parties, trying to be that guy. And then that music thing grabbed me again. It grabbed me
Mm,
again about 84, 85 again. And that's when I connected with a brother who I talked to you about, Randy, in
yes.
Kentucky, who when you hear Randy's story, you're gonna say, "Wow,
Yeah,
this
he's
young brother's
he's
touched the
coming
world."
up. He's coming
Yeah,
up in a
so
couple of
please,
weeks.
people, please, if you get a chance to see his story, you better listen to it because Randy put together 88 hip hop in New
Yeah.
York, and it was phenomenal. I went down there a few times, but Randy was in his basement, and I went down there one time, and he was a really good DJ also. And he told me a little few things, and I started practicing. Now I'm practicing on the 12s. Now I'm not practicing on home turntables. I'm practicing on
Mm,
the 12s. So it's a whole different concept when you're learning on them 1200s. And so Randy told me, he said, if you're serious about this, he said, if you're serious about DJing, go home. Here's these two records, uh, Good Times. He said, if you can't blend Good Times, don't get into DJing.
don't get into it.
Don't get into DJing. And so I went home, and I guess Randy thought I was coming back like 5, 6 days later. But I stayed up all night,
Mm,
and I worked on it. And I wasn't a transforming DJ. I was a DJ that liked to blend
right.
because my thing was that uh, I want to keep people on the dance floor. I don't want to get people moving one way and then all of a sudden I got to stop and redirect you. I just want to keep you on the dance floor. So for me, counting the beats, getting the beats synchronized, and making the party continue was my mission. And so when I came back down to the house the next day, Randy talked to me, and even though I'm older than him, he talked to me like I was grasshopper. He said, you have you have crossed over. You have crossed over. And I said, okay. And then
So you snatched the pebble out the hand.
snatched the pebble out the hand, and the rest went from there. It went 35 years later, we were still on them turntables.
Mm. Now
So,
take us back to the late 80s.
okay.
You're in the military already,
Right.
correct?
Yes.
you're DJing out there in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you DJing at? Because around that time, we didn't hear anything until NWA from West Coast
Right.
came out. But
Yeah.
Vegas is just 4 or 5 hours down the road.
Right. I did a few little house functions that we did. So some of the brothers on the bass had their own place. So we would go over there. We would mix, invite a few people over. Um, this is going to be interesting, but I'm going to share it. My former wife was also on the UNLV radio station.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I used to go up there and, mix a little bit on her show. And, and so I used to, so I was trying to just tell people, I do this a little bit, but it was really no clubs. They were dealing with the local people who had a lot more connections to Vegas.
Right.
And, I really wasn't I was still into the East Coast music, and it really hadn't been introduced to the West Coast on that level yet. So we're playing the artists from back in the day. People couldn't understand a Spoonie
Cool
G
Kyle
or a
Star
Treacherous
Child.
Three. Yeah, they couldn't do all that. They can understand. They didn't know what they was talking about,
Right.
and you dropping these lyrics, and they like, what is he talking about? Come on, and then Kumo D was talking about the Wild Wild West, and people thought he was dissing the West Coast, and so
Right.
people would get upset over the music like they do now, just about lyrics because they don't understand how the lyrics were sort of connected to the person in their environment. It wasn't international yet, right?
Yes.
So it didn't happen until I sort of went back home to Connecticut, where it became part of my everyday activity then.
So did you leave the
Yeah,
military and go back to Connecticut? Connecticut?
yeah, I did.
Excuse me.
Yeah, whatever, however you want, Connecticut, we cut you,
I say
whatever.
Connecticut, but we online, and I want everybody to hear the correct
Right.
pronunciation. Connecticut.
Right, Connecticut. Yes, I did go back. I did go back in '86, '86, and that's when it started. Then I started to get a few opportunities, but I want to say my biggest and greatest uh, opportunity was, again, I'm gonna talk about Randy.
Hmm.
And Randy, one of the things that I had an awesome collection of music, and especially the old school music. And a lot of people don't know about, some people who are DJs might know, but back in the day they had the white labels, right? The white
Right.
labels were those bootleg records that were recorded in a studio but weren't released. But you can go to the record shop and they would give you, they would sell those white labels. But if you got caught with those white labels by the police, you could get arrested. So it was almost a strategic. It was a strategic way for you to go in, and you had to carry your DJ bag in there and then stuff them in the DJ bag, but then put them in a paper bag and keep the records that were legitimate on the outside. So if the police stopped you and checked your DJ bag, they would just see the legitimate
Uh,
records. But the white labels were hidden inside those records, right? And that's the thing, is that when I came back and started, I had sounds that weren't even on the airwaves yet. And then I had a very exclusive collection of old school records, the old '70s
yeah.
music, and that became my forte. So that was my forte. So people knew if East Coast was putting on an old school party, it was going to be an old school party. Like, they said, it's East Coast party don't stop, that type of thing. Because, you were
Hmm.
going to dance from the time you walked in the door until the time you left. And that's that's what happened. But so Randy was doing, him and his cousin were doing a '70s theme uh, party in
Mm.
Brooklyn, in Brooklyn, in Bed-Stuy. And Randy said, "You want to do it?" And I was like, "Yeah, I want to do it." So the funny thing is that people were lined up outside, and we showed up a little bit late. I had a few brothers who carried my records, and I'm carrying my bag too with my records. And we came in and like parted like the sea. And I'm walking through, and people say, "Oh my God, the DJ's here! The DJ's here!" And so I said, "I can't let him down." And then, so we got in the house. Randy had everything set up, and he said, "Well, let me let you get a few minutes first before you really go live." And so I had a compilation CD that was a sort of a mix, old school a little bit. And so I put that in, and it played for a little while, and people were getting warmed up. And then Randy came down the room. He said, "You ready to go?" I said, "Yeah, I've been going." He said, "No, no, you ready to go live?" I said, "Let's go."
Mm.
And and I think I hit him with off the top was either it was I want to thank you, or it was say. I hit him with that,
Right.
and the people were going crazy. And then when they did that, I came back with some Soul Makusa. I came back with some
The classic old school, but they wasn't
all
that old
classic.
school back in them days.
But these were older people. These were people like in my era
Yes.
that they came dressed for the part. They came dressed for the '70s, and at the end, I want to say not at the end, but when the party got started,
Hmm.
all I could see was look out the window. And when I looked out the window, you saw people over the wall on the next street on their balconies dancing. You saw people in the street. The cats went out there. The brothers I came with, they went out there and they were like, "Oh my God, there's people in the street dancing." That party went to about 4:30 in the morning, and nobody stopped. And Randy and I often laugh about it because he says when he communicates with people from back in the neighborhood, they said that was the best party that they ever witnessed because we kept the music going the whole time. I
And
remember
nobody
one time
complained.
nobody complained, nobody fought, everybody danced. It was just one of those parties where I said, "This is my lane. This is
Hmm.
my lane right here," and that's what became sort of my forte, my name. People said, East Coast because you rocking people from all coast, and so but they said you represent the East Coast. So I came out. I used to do parties at the uh, MetLife Stadium. Used to bring my stuff down there, go to the games. We never went in. I used to just bring my generator, my turntables, my amp, and set up out there in the parking lot. People would be in the parties in the parking lot. We were killing the game back then. I
MetLife.
could
What
say
what were their name? They were the Meadowlands
the
before.
Meadowlands then, yeah, the Meadowlands. I'm trying to let people now who may be listening to
Yeah.
understand the names have changed to protect the innocent, right?
Uh-huh.
Absolutely.
Oh man. So now, are you on Hip Hop 88 at the time, or y'all just doing parties? Or did he even create 88 hip hop yet?
No, he created 88 hip hop. I want to say a little later in the '80s.
Okay.
Yeah, but he used to have. It used to be a plethora of everything. It used to be the graffiti. The brothers would come in. He had a room with wall, and people would do graffiti. We had the break dancers in there. He had DJs in different rooms, different floors in the building. I mean, it was an amazing sight for people to really see.
Yeah.
And then, the other thing back then, Harry, which I think is really has to be spoken about. Nobody was hating on
Yes.
anybody who had a craft, right? So you walk in and people say, "What you do?" "I'm a DJ." "Oh, I'm a DJ too." They weren't saying, "Well, you don't do parties like I do." Nobody was saying that. People was, I'm gonna use the word I found in Jamaica. They was blessing up. They bless up you for
Yeah.
being a DJ. They bless up you for being an MC. They bless up, and cats would say to you, "Come on, get on, get on. What set? What kind of set you want to do? I got these records. I got this. What you want to do?" And nobody was hating on nobody. They were celebrating the fact that we could all be in the same room and vibe like that,
Yeah.
right, without no problems. And that was an extraordinary venture for not just Randy's legacy, but I say for the New York area for many years, and for a lot of those legends and OGs that may have been forgotten. He
Hmm.
brought him. He gave him life. He gave him. He resuscitated him a little bit.
Did you ever play in the clubs in Manhattan, or you strictly just kind of stayed back in Connecticut?
primarily most of my work was done in Connecticut. I did some stuff in Massachusetts. I did two clubs in Jersey, but those were, house sets.
Right.
Yeah, but I never got an opportunity to go do anything in New York because, politically again, and we can use that word now, even though people weren't hating politically, uh, you know, some cats might thought you was in their money too, coming over there taking my set away from me. And if you do better than the club owner says, well, you want this, because the club is still, he trying to make money. If he can get people in and get them to buy some libation, he was going to go with the best situation. But
Right.
I only did two parties in New York, but I did most of my parties in Connecticut and Massachusetts.
Now,
Hmm.
how far down in Connecticut was it from the Bronx? Because the end of the Bronx, the northeast Bronx, and then you're going into New Rochelle area, and then you're
Yeah,
going into Connecticut, Greenwich, Connecticut. How
right.
far were you from there? Because that kind of makes a difference. Because
Yeah,
it was a hike.
yeah. I would say from New Britain's right next to Hartford, so which is the capital. That's about an hour and a half drive.
Ooh,
Uh, yeah, it depends on where you were coming. If you came up the MAARC Parkway, if you came up, 91 to 95,
yeah,
just depends. So like I said, it was like an hour and a half. But the difference now is the equipment versus the equipment. Then you had to bring. You couldn't travel with all. You had to have a
right.
semi truck to carry all
You
your
got a
equipment.
minimum of 6 crates of records.
Right, that's
You
at
got
least.
amps and speakers, not
Right,
powered speakers anymore.
right,
You had mixers. I don't know if you brought microphones, but the speakers was some of them was big as washing machines.
right. That's right.
Rental truck just to haul
Just
the
to get
things
your equipment up,
around.
and then you had to have your fans because you had to keep your amp cool, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I forgot
So
about that.
that's right.
Had the
Uh-huh.
fan aiming straight down. Oh,
Right.
that
Just
was
blowing all that heat
them.
away.
Them was the days, bro. Them was the days.
And then you had to carry your amps, I mean your fuses with you. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, because I had a few instances like that where your party was going, all of a sudden the circuit breaker goes in the establishment, boom, here goes your equipment, and everybody thinks you did it. So you got to have those fuses with you. You almost had to carry a toolkit because you had to take stuff apart to rebuild it to get it
Right.
working again. Yeah.
Mm.
Hmm.
Man, oh man. So now in the Connecticut area, I know they had a bunch of DJs
Yeah.
out there. Did you roll with any of them?
I did. We did some mutual parties, like the party that I think that we were most known for. We used to be on the radio station in Wesleyan, WESU 88.1, and there was a group of us called MAARC Entertainment. Now, MAARC Entertainment was we used to have the Sunday. The Sunday used to be our day. So we
Okay.
had a brother who did the gospel in the morning, and then we had another brother named Roland who came on right after him, and then we had uh, my man Mike C who came on after. No, Mike C or Colin. One of them came on. I think Colin came on, and then Mike C came on, and then after that I came on, and we had another brother out of Massachusetts called Woo Bear, James Woo Bear. Used to come on and do the closing on the radio station, but I think most of the time, coming from Massachusetts, he didn't come. So I ended up staying on the station from like 12 hours sometime. Um,
Wow.
yeah, because I just music, has been so such therapeutic for me. You know, gives you time of reflection. It gives you time of
Hmm.
growth. It gives you time of a lot of things that music can only do for people who truly love music, right, and
Right.
understand its power. But so we put together a group, and it was called MAARC Entertainment, and I want to say probably in the early '90s. Uh, we probably, and there's gonna be some people out there who are from Connecticut who said, "Nah, them parties weren't the biggest, but they were the biggest and the best."
Yeah.
Because one of the guys in there who still DJs, Al Lindstrom, worked, I think, at that time for Tommy Boy, and Al's still in the game. Al still does a lot of holiday sets. I think on one of those
Serious
like
channels.
series. Yeah, one of
Yeah.
those I believe he does, or maybe he'll see this and he'll correct it in the chat. But he used to. What made our parties different? We had 3 rooms in the hotel. We would come in and rent out the whole ballroom. So one room would just be new school music. We had a room where I primarily DJ was just old school music, and then we had another room that had like a little lounge jazz music in there. So if you found you somebody who you want to have a little conversation with, at least you can go in there and sit down with some soothing music and be able to communicate.
Right.
And you know, we put some people out there. We did put some people out there. I remember some of the people that were on, some of the new artists who were on Tommy Boy. I think they were Tommy Boy. I could be wrong. It was a few years ago. But I know we like sort of introduced John B. We sort of introduced um, Gina Thompson. We sort of put some of those artists out there. So that's what we did. We brought that to our party. So maybe during after halftime of the party, we would bring these artists out and expose them to the other people.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, we were bringing in. I mean, not money wise. I said we were bringing in about 4 to 5 thousand people in this hotel parties. We killed the game for some years. We killed the game, and
Ah,
and it became real successful. But the foundation was because our radio shows uh, were so viewed and listened to that when we spoke, people said, "I want to be in the room where them guys are," and uh, and it became a very successful venture in Connecticut. And then but in the meantime, it also got you an opportunity to do other parties and other arenas too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now this is I'm asking this for some DJs. How did the radio help you, or did it even help you get more gigs?
Well, I think because at that time people were listening to radio, and the commercial radio, the college radio stations, people knew they were going to get music that wasn't commercial, right?
Hmm.
So you may get a new artist that wasn't able to break into the paid advertising stations, but college radios would expose them. So people were listening on the college radio stations to get the new artists.
Yeah.
And then, like my show, I made it really creative. I would do people like, where are they now? So I would, go to New York and I would meet some of those old timers, Curtis Blow, uh, some of those guys. Uh, what's them boys' names? I won't say them boys, them men. Um, Houdini. You
Okay.
know, I would do interviews with them, and then I would do a session where I would just highlight one artist. And so I would play a few songs from them, and then I play the interview, and then I would play a few more songs. So it gave a personal connection.
Yeah.
And then towards the end of my show, I would do a slow set to sort of set my man up who was coming in after me. But if he didn't, I'm gonna tell you that's one thing that I love the most was that slow music. So I was a slow music extraordinaire too. So I wouldn't mind staying on the radio to 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
Did your
You know.
voice get deeper
Oh,
as the
I
night
put the very
ran?
voice, very, very white on. You got to take something to get a little raspiness in your throat, and you figure if
Get
Barry had to
then
work, you
then
better
get a
be working.
little bit lower and
Yeah,
talk a little
a
slower.
little slower. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, yeah.
Oh man. So now throughout the years,
Mhm.
the digital stuff started coming up. I think
Yeah,
Serato was one of the originators. I think
yeah,
I don't think Record Box, but it was a couple of them that were originators. First the CDJs and everything.
right.
Did you guys start the crossover, or you kind of stuck with the turntables?
I personally stuck with the turntables. There's some brothers who did cross over, and the other thing was that there was a lot of brothers in the neighborhood who I allowed to even come down into my basement. We used to call it Club 38 because that was my address, 38. And we used to call it Club 38. And I gave them an opportunity to come on down, and they wanted to, begin mixing. So I would tell them the only thing they had to do was bring their own needles. Uh,
Right.
and you come on down and I give you an opportunity to learn the craft, right? And so a lot of little brothers from around the New Britain area, like my little brother Matt Hall and Big Kev and Roger Echoes and some of those cats used to come down to my basement, and I let them have it their way with the turntables,
Hmm.
and then it also inspired my children to get into music too.
Oh,
So
wow.
man, because my youngest daughter, she's a singer, but the funny thing was that we used to have a swing set in the back,
Hmm.
and I had the ultimate guard for her. I had an Akita, and anybody who knows about this interview, who's ever been to my house, know that you were not coming close to the house when Simba was in the yard, right? And so, and so I used to be in the basement DJ, but I had the window open, and I would let her go out there on the swing, and she'd be swinging, and I'd be playing music, and she would be, singing. And I remember we had a couple used to live behind us, and I remember one time they said, "This girl goes from singing gospel to R&B to hip hop."
The 70s.
She would mix it all together, but she used to be down in the basement with me for hours,
Right.
just listening to music. So her knowledge of the different genres is so vast. I think that helps her in understanding how she navigates through the singing world now. And then my son, he used to sneak down there, and then it's funny because him and my nephews be talking about we used to sneak down there when you weren't home, and I wonder when my needles didn't work because they was down there trying to dig them
Mm.
out and blowing my needles out. So, but gave him an opportunity also to be in the music business. He worked a little bit with, you remember back in the day, Willie Esco?
Yes.
Yeah, he used to work with Willie Esco. He used to do it. He used to work with Fubu a little bit.
Yeah.
I think he used to work for Machiavelli also, and then he did a little stuff in the West Coast with Green Up Productions.
Mm.
My oldest daughter she's more the manager of all this, and then I have another daughter, a bonus daughter, who became a DJ in England. So I guess the music wore off a little bit on them. I guess they realizing that I wasn't absent, but I was just absent from upstairs in the house. I was down in the
Right.
basement.
In the
They heard it.
dungeon.
Had enough of it.
Club 38.
Club 38 was banging 24/7 sometimes. So people knew that if you knew what you're looking for Mr. Edwards, where is he? You know where he is. He's in that basement, right? And so that became part of the process also. But just in answering your question, I did have some CDJs when I
Okay.
started to first transfer over into it. But for me, the thing that really changed the game for me was the creativity, right? For me was the fact that you got a party going, and I want to turn around and go through a crate and say, okay, this is playing in my head right now. So I want to find the record, I want to catch the beat, and I want to walk through it. I want to walk a beat through something. I want to be able to slow it down or to put something different on it where
Yeah.
people would understand that this is not a machine. And I've been listening to and looking at a few videos lately, and you see the brothers who, they're creating great music, but they're constantly turning, constantly pushing buttons, constantly turning. The creativity is no
Dude,
longer
that
there.
is just so crazy. I talk about
Yeah,
it. Shout out to heavy hitter DJ Cam. I talk about it to him all the time. It just touches stuff. You're not moving anything. You're
right,
just
right.
visual. Is it like a visual thing for the audience?
I don't
Because
know what it is.
DJing is not that exciting,
No, it's not.
from a visual point of view.
Right, right.
That's why I was radio at first.
Yeah, and that's what I said for me. What really changed my interest is the fact that people weren't creating records anymore. There were no more records really being created. Everybody was going to CD, so you had to be able to put a whole CD in, and then to take a song off a CD to create a single CD became too tedious. So back in the day when you had, you had albums you listened to, but then when you had the 1200s, not the turntables, but the records,
Right.
12 inches, you knew it was one song on there. You
Yeah.
knew what a break was. Some people back in the day,
Marked up they stuff. Yeah.
marked this stuff up, so you knew what a break was. It was very difficult with the CDJs to grab a record and pull it back because it was resisting the way that the CDJ ran versus the turntable. You can grab it and pull it back. You can pull it back,
Right.
and then you grab it, and then you can drop it again. But with the CDJs, there was so much resistance in the band that you think you went back 5 rotations and you only went back one because the CDJ to pushed it up and you back and you're like, ooh, that's terrible, right? So you had to get an MC to correct your.
Uh,
You had to get somebody to walk you through that, walk you through the mistakes.
it is weird, and I don't know if any of the other DJs here, but you're so used to picking up the needle, and some of the and not some, but all of pretty much all the controllers don't have a needle.
Right.
So
No.
what do you do with your thumb now?
It becomes obsolete.
Yeah.
And it's funny that technology, but I mean, those guys are getting the big bucks. They're getting the
Yeah.
big bucks, and for me, I can't. I'm very happy where I came in this game, man. Like I'm saying on my shirt, I'm hip hop. I've been here since hip hop started. I remember
Hmm.
going down to New York to the block parties where uh, I remember seeing Hurt have a party with the speakers, like you said, uh, the 5, 15, 18-inch woofers in it,
Ooh.
none but bass. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? None but bass, and then you realize that you were part of something special. The people who are talking about it now, they don't really they understand, they recognize, but you don't understand the sacrifice that those brothers and sisters, you got to say the sisters too, because
Yes.
Sequence and
Hmm.
and and all of them put the work in. They put the work in also. But a lot of people
Chirac.
over, yeah, Shy Rock and all, they put the work in, and they over, they just became part of the process. And people, in anything I say that you do, I say, understand the shoulders that you stand on, because those shoulders are wide, and those shoulders are sturdy, because you wouldn't be getting this big money that and even here in Vegas, I see the clubs, the pool parties,
Yeah.
and you see these guys' salaries, and they're making like $3.5 million a year for that sanitation that they playing. And I
Yeah.
don't want, I don't mean to say that disrespectful, but
Yeah.
I thought music was made to make people dance. But again, different strokes for
Yeah.
different folks.
I
Right?
used to, I have to admit, I used to hate on it, but
Yeah.
it's kind of like the same thing with our parents as we
Yeah.
were coming up with the
Right. Right.
hip hop or rap music that we first got exposed to in
Correct.
the
Yeah.
late 70s, early 80s,
Right.
all prior to your Run DMC era.
Correct. Correct.
So,
And then the other thing which is so funny is that I tell people to this day, if you put on Rapper's Delight, I can go word for word. I can go through the whole song on Rapper's Delight. Now, who learned songs like that back in the day? What's his
yo,
name?
yo, our hip hop was a minimum of 6 minutes and change. That
I
was a
mean,
short song. The longer
absolutely,
ones, like your rapper's delight was what
like 11 minutes.
14,
Yeah, 11,
14
12 minutes. It was
minutes?
crazy. And the thing was that they was just freestyling. It wasn't like something that,
Yeah.
sometimes you were looking at it and say they're not making any sense, but and everybody always talks about, I hear people now, young brothers don't even know what they're talking about. They say that the macaroni soggy, the peas are mush, and the chicken tastes like wood. I said, now what's that mean? What song that come from? I don't know. I just heard somebody singing it.
Just
Well,
heard somebody.
yeah, you got to understand that stuff, right? Yeah, but even with what's his name? It takes two to make a thing go right.
Rob
What's it?
Bass.
Rob Bass. Rob Bass song was one of them club bangers too, right? I mean, there was so many
For
songs that,
years.
yeah, it was, and people were
And
like,
will
"Oh my
still
god!"
get that type of
Oh,
response
it sure will.
nowadays.
It sure will. If you put that on in a party in the right frame,
Mm-hmm.
it's going. And now with the way the stuff is, you can loop it because the beat is going. The
Yeah.
beat's what's going to bring you to the floor, right? Yeah, and that's the thing I said is that so many people don't understand the power of music because
Mm-hmm.
it just touches the soul, the way that the soul, the vibrations and your rhythms and your energy was supposed to be stimulated, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the doctor side of me talking from that perspective. But yeah,
Going back in the day, what was some of your songs, your favorites that you played, hip
you
hop
know,
wise and disco wise?
I would say like even though they're not really old, but like my house set would be like uh, "Girl, I'll House You" and "Follow Me" and gosh,
Shout out to Eddie.
all of that, all of that, all of that little that sequence in there. Um, um, Gosh, see, I wish I would have known because I thought I was going to talk about this, but I should have been a little bit prepared and had them songs written down. But since I ain't touched them things in so long, I don't know. But I think my little R&B set when I was at a party and I said people aren't moving, I knew how to get them up, and I would go with like a Janet Jackson. It's all right, and then
Mm-hmm.
hit them with a little Chub Rock, and then hit them with a little Lisa Colt Jam, and hit them with a little bit of um uh
Shout out
a
to
little bit.
Lisa.
Yeah, see, so
She
all that.
just
So I
had a
let you.
birthday. She just had a birthday as the filming of this
Is
interview.
that right? Okay, and then we'll go with a little bit of uh you know songs in that era in that 98 beat to 104 beat style of records, and then go from there.
Yeah.
And people that would usually motivate people to get up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then even it depends on the crowd. If you had an older crowd, I'm gonna tell you one. There's two songs that nobody in the world to this day will sit down on, and the two songs are "Got to Give It Up" by Marvin Gaye and "Before I Let Go" by Frankie Beverly and
By
Mays.
Frankie Beverly and
You put
Mays.
those
Yep.
two songs on, you don't even have to be a DJ. You can close the party down from there, right?
Yep.
And and so and if you were creative, all you got to do is do that da 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 da, and then you bring it back da da
Uh,
da, and people be like, oh, you be like, and then you get the mic going, so they don't even know. I'll be like, I need you on the dance floor. Get on up here. Let's get these feet moving. Let's get this going. If you like what you're hearing, everybody throw your hands in the air and wave them like you're just going
uh-huh.
through. Give them all that. And then if you keep looping there, and then when it goes, you make me happy, right? Then you bring that back.
Uh-huh.
What you do? You make and you keep running. See, you get me a little warmed up now. But I used to, so I could transform if I needed to.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I had a partner back in New Britain. He still DJs now, but his name was Taurus. His name is Taurus Kenny, and he was really nice at transforming. So he used to bring me down to his basement a little bit. Said, "Roy, you got to learn how to transform too, because that's going to get it." So I did it a little bit, but it was just for the sole purpose of getting people to understand that
Right.
I'm going to loop something. Whereas the new stuff, all I had to do was let it play one time and hit the button. It can loop it and keep running it back, right? I don't have to put that effort into it, but when you get that on there, and then when people sit around and then you hit them with that Marvin Gaye like doom
Mm-hmm.
doom 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 doom, and people be like, oh, them, old people when they get, when old people old because they keep their hands up in the air all the time. Their hands don't come below their shoulders, and when you get them in the air, you got them. That's what you do. You got 'em. So when you drop that Marvin Gaye, that was 12 minutes.
Oh,
That'll get
that's
you to sit down.
funny. That is
After that.
funny.
Yeah. So I
So
had a few little sets.
let's take this up to um now I seen on your resume you stopped playing in 2010. Stop
Probably,
DJing
maybe, probably a
and
little later, probably like 2012, maybe. Yeah, I
okay.
think about it now. Yeah.
So take us from that 2005 era and on until you kind of stopped, and what got you, what did you get tired of DJing? Were you disappointed in the DJ stuff, or was it just time to step back?
I think you can say it was a little bit of all three.
Hmm.
Uh, I said I moved to Atlanta, and my brother at the time. No, this was before he was DJing at the Vixen. I don't know if you remember the club Vixen in Atlanta. My little brother Jerry was the DJ down there, DJ Grand Incredible. He was down there, and so I used to go down there. But uh, I think I went there. Um, I went there, and then there was a sister who he was doing some work with, and he said he didn't have the equipment, but she wanted me to do some high end fashion shows. And
Okay.
so I started doing some high end fashion shows for, I want to say she worked for Macy's, I think, and I don't want to get her name wrong, but let me not say it. Okay, let me not say
The
it because
Macy's lady.
the Macy's lady, yeah, but I haven't seen her in a while. But so I used to come in and do the fashion shows for Macy's. And then from there, they used to give me. Atlanta's a little different. Atlanta will hire you to do DJ in a grocery store, right?
Yeah,
You could
we
be in the
we're
grocery store,
we're gonna
and
be heading out there during the summertime.
okay, bring your
So
stuff because they might put you up in the grocery
yeah,
store. And like I remember one year was a few years in a row, like a new clothing line would come out. Like say Fubu was coming out with a new line,
yeah,
and they wanted to attract people towards the Fubu line or the Sean John line or
they
something.
hiring the DJ.
They're hiring the DJ. So I used to get a lot of those shows because the people in Macy said they liked the music that I played.
Hmm.
And so I used to do that. And then I did a few high end fashion shows. And this is what I'm going to say, what really caused me to sort of change was that I think one time at the fashion show, I was just using the CDJs.
Hmm.
And DJ Nabs came in, and DJ Nabs was supposed to take over from where I had ended. But Nabs had came in and his people hadn't brought his equipment yet, so he said he'll just transition from my stuff to his stuff. But it wasn't the platters, so he couldn't do all the stuff DJ Nabs was known for. And so at that time, he was like, "Hey, brother, you're gonna have to get this new equipment, sort of to compete." And I'm like, "Man, I'm on my way to being 50 years old almost, right? I don't
them
need to
crate,
do this
them
no more."
crates, is,
So
them
craze
crates.
got me. The craze did a lot of things for me, and and the music had changed for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like I said earlier, I said the music I believe has so much power in healing. It has healing power. It also has retrospect power. It also has the power for people to connect. Uh, the one thing that I can say, about what hip hop has done, hip hop has transformed the world, right? Hip hop is
Yes.
in every
What was
every
supposed to be a fad?
correct, what was supposed to be a fad. But the thing is that what they did when they saw the power of what hip hop had created, they then allowed buffoonery to be on the forefront. And again, I'm not mad at whatever you do to make money. But when you're making money off the backs of exploiting your own people, when you're exploiting your women, when you came from a woman, when you exploiting, talking about you ran up on somebody's house and shot their mother's house up, when you're talking about you shooting people up, that's not music to me, right? That's a denigration of yourself, right? You
Mm-hmm.
don't have self love, so what you want to do is you want to talk about the people that you're destroying who look like you.
Mm.
And then we saw the mainstream start to profitize off of that, and then give that the lead, right? Because what it was about exploiting us,
Right.
and and our whole journey in America has been for others to exploit and to utilize our talent so that they can gain financial benefits, right? And instead of us being smarter, we just looked at an opportunity, right? And we said, I'm going to be a star and I'm going to be on stage and I don't care who I talk about. right? But then you got to realize in real life, and this is the doctor side coming out of me again, karma is real. Karma is real. So when you talk about doing all that, um, when you talk about doing all that, life will come back and show you what your words mean,
Yep.
right? And what the power of your words are. And so you may talk about killing somebody, but never held a gun in your hand. And
Mm-hmm.
then all of a sudden, here goes one of your friends who gets killed because of your words, right? Because even as we talk about the beef between Biggie and Pac, it wasn't Biggie and Pac who shot each other. It was somebody who wanted to be recognized by either one of them or their crew to say
Mm-hmm.
that I'm down for you, right? And it's always the small guy who's trying to be, a big fish, and they go out and commit some crime that not only affects the industry and the music, but it affects the people, right?
Yep.
And it expects and it exploits us from being who we're destined to be, right?
Look at what Camille said. Hey, Camille. She said, tell the truth, sir. Exploitation.
Thank you, Camille. Bless up, sister. For real, appreciate you. Appreciate you. But that's what sort of got me out the game, right? Because I knew that in my heart of heart, what I had been doing for all of those years was
Mm-hmm.
about for the love of the music, right? So what did I do? Even though I stopped, what I did is I went on Spotify. I have about 40 playlists on Spotify right now that, are not mixes, but there's some beautiful music. I got all genres of music that sort of still give people the opportunity to explore some of that good music, right?
Okay.
Without being exploited. Camille, thank you again, sister. I'm gonna use that word. Without being exploited, without being denigrated, without being downgraded as a people. It's just
Mm-hmm.
about good music that you can sit around the house and play with your family, play with your children, play so to give you an opportunity to reminisce on some of the stuff that you were doing at that time, the person who was special in your life, the decisions that you made that were bad. The house parties. The house parties got a lot of people in trouble, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you were supposed to be
Music.
home.
Yeah. Music is one of the few things in life where it can make you happy, it can make you sad, it can make you
Right,
cry,
right,
it can make you smile. It
right.
could make you have so many different feelings.
Yeah, yeah. Because
Mm,
music resonates with what people are created of. People are created. Most people think, this right here is created through something. This is created through vibration, energy, and rhythm, right? And what is music? Rhythm and vibration and energy. So music
energy.
is a part of our makeup. It's a part of our makeup. And no matter where you are, I don't care what you listen to. You think about how the African beat music has now come on the scene and it's taken over. Why? Because it's the
Afro
original.
beats.
Yeah, it's the original foundation of music, right?
Mm,
And I don't care where you are. You see that song, even though it's the older one by Tim's. Tim's. You don't need no other buy. You don't need. When that song comes on, I don't care. I was in a restaurant the other day that was. I was getting some Mediterranean food, and that came on the radio, and the people in the back were just grooving, and I'm like, this Mediterranean, this Mediterranean group is getting it like, but everybody in the thing, and they were singing, "You don't need no other body," and I'm like,
uh,
it's not the song, it's the beat that is connecting with the
yeah.
vibration, and the rhythm, and the energy of their body, and that's what music's purpose was for. It was, back when before we ventured over into this place. It was communication. It was the beats were communication. It was the fact for us to celebrate something going on in another village. It was meant for a purpose. And what we've done, and Camille, I'm gonna use your word again. What we've done is we've taken music and we exploited music for the benefits of us to just be a star, right?
Mm.
And what people don't realize, all stars are for, what happened to stars? Stars burn out. Stars will burn out. You look up in the universe tonight, you'll see a star go back tomorrow. That star is not there because it burned out. Right? So So think about
Jason is laughing at that one.
Jason, how you doing, grand sir? How you doing?
Hey, Pamela.
That's my cousin right there. That's my cousin.
Hey,
She's
cuz.
she's been on that journey with me, Pam. We got to cut Pam off because Pam would get up there and start telling some stories, and then she'll ruin all this
Pam,
good
put in
stuff
the
for me.
comments a good story he ain't gonna tell.
Pam was there. Pam was there on a few of those journeys, and that's why I love her because she was my ride or die cousin, and
Mm.
she knows how. Half of the time I wasn't DJing, I was protecting her. So
She said
that's
music
what it
used to
was.
bring us together.
Yes, it did. It sure did. But that's a good way to put it, Pam. You're right. It used to bring us together.
So now
Uh,
your journey after you stopped DJing, where did that
mhm.
take you?
Oh boy. Wow. Well, probably for the last 40 years, I've been doing putting together programs for young African American males. Uh, she said she's gonna take it to the
To
grave.
take
All
it in the
right.
grave.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Harry, your screen is froze too.
Is it?
Yeah, I hear you, but your screen is froze. Your picture's froze.
Oh,
But I'll answer the question while you're talking. Well, so I always incorporated music into everything I've done. So I've done presentations all over, all over the globe, and it's primarily about dealing. Sort of the question that I have in my brain is, where did men of African descent lose our thirst for excellence? And so I concentrated on that, but I use music as a way to connect the generations. And so I left DJing, but I always used music because I understood the power of music in that particular growth. And so we gave young brothers an opportunity to explore opportunities in music. We used to give brothers a chance to go to the studio. They wanted to be
right.
they used to be if you want to be an MC. Let me show you how it is, what the work is to become an MC. I remember my son and his crew out of LA one time came to Atlanta, and I went to the studio with him. And about 11 o'clock, I was ready to go. I'm gone. I told my son, "What you gonna do?" He said, "We here to 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning." You know, they would go in that studio, and it's like anything. You're committed to putting down what's on your brain at this particular time, right? And I was like, this is what when you see people who are dedicated. So that's why I
right.
used to try to, there's so many kids that say I want to be a rapper, I want to be an athlete, and that's one of the areas that I really work with now is helping these athletes transform from one phase to another. So being a performance coach and a therapist, working with even those individuals who want to be um, MCs. Are you willing
Hmm.
to put 12, 14 hours in the studio, right?
Right.
And then let's see what type of message are you trying to deliver? Because the message that you deliver defines who you are, right? Um, that's stuff that what's the name said. Chris Tucker said in his movie. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth are very, very important because once the words come out your mouth, they define who you are, right?
Hmm.
They define who you are. And so if you want to go in the studio, you want to talk about I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna go and do this to your mother. You better hurry up and get home because somebody might think that your mother's is,
Mm.
is is vulnerable also, right? So I've done a lot of that, but music, like I said, has always been a part, will always be a part. Uh, I'm really trying to get on one of these internet platforms, and I just want to do like a quiet storm type show. Um, that's right. That's right. You
There's,
got to be willing. You got
there-
to be
there's
willing.
there's plenty of them out there. There's plenty
I
of
just
them
got
out there.
maybe Harry, all the people that are watching, somebody might call me and say, I feel your energy. I want to get on there and do that. I want to lower my voice a little bit. I want to bring back Barry White. Want to get people to be really really in tune to some nice old slow music that
Hmm.
really touch the soul. So I really want to. If I had a chance, if I had an opportunity to do that, I would jump at that in a heartbeat. But like I said, I'll sit around here and maybe from the energy I got tonight, I might even go put together a Spotify playlist tonight, just to some music, because I'll do that. I'll listen to it
Right.
and I'll be like, oh, okay. And I do my little playlist. And like I said, I have about 50 playlists on Spotify.
Nice. Man, so as we are wrapping this thing up, um, what as a DJ,
Right.
what would you tell an up and coming DJ? This is one of the questions I always ask at the end or closer to the end of my show. What would you tell that DJ who's just getting into DJing, don't know where to go, don't know what to do? What do you tell that new DJ?
I would say be universal, right? Be able to cross over because again, if you want to be a DJ uh, just to be considered or get street cred and be in the hood, if you're going to be a DJ, make the most money you can, right?
Hmm.
So I'm going to tell you, I have another little brother, and he is phenomenal. He's a DJ right now, DJ Eakin. He's the DJ for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right?
We got to get them
And
on.
got to get him on. I'm telling you. Hopefully he's listening too. But you know, at first he was doing the hip hop. Then he went to he's known as the Tampa's most connected DJ.
Mm.
And he went out there. Then all of a sudden he started doing some of the college parties, and he started doing some of the crossover parties. So he now, like he said, he got the job as the DJ for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because he is so versatile in his ability as a DJ. So I would say if you're going to get into anything, and I think Jason said it earlier in his comments, is that if you're going to get into anything, look at the outcome of what you're trying to achieve, right? When you look at the outcome of what you're trying to achieve, then design a plan of execution and action on how I'm going to get there. And then what avenues do I need to know? So if it's going down Main Street, what streets do I need to turn down to get to the end of Main Street if there's a detour, all right?
Yeah.
And it may be, Harry, I did bar mitzvahs. I did so many things that were out of the genre for which people knew me by, right?
Mm.
And all I did was when people said, "What type of music are you listening to?" Uh, I would go out and get the music, right? And the
They,
fact is
they
that
call it open format nowadays.
okay, open format. Well, I was open in the format. I was open in format like no other. But I was, like
uh,
I said, I was doing bar mitzvahs. I was doing little, what's them things called? The sweet 16s for young Hispanic
the
girls.
the the kin something.
Yeah, somebody's gonna put it in there for
Yeah,
us. But
somebody
I was
put it
doing
there.
those. I was doing those. I was doing the Latin parties. I was doing. I was doing uh, country western parties. I was doing them hold downs because them songs are. You talking about long songs? Them songs is like 17 minutes, and you don't have to mix them. All you do is you have about 10 or 15 of them songs. You can mix them back to back, and you can play them over and over. They'll tell
Eh,
you play it again.
there
There
it
you go,
is.
Jason. There you
That
go,
that
Jason.
word,
Yeah, that
whatever
word
it
right
is, you should
there.
have said it.
Right. You should have jumped in and said it for us. And those cats would say, "Play that again, man."
Mm.
And you could play uh what's that song? I'm telling you one of the favorite songs, Cotton Eye Joe, right?
Oh man,
You could play Cotton Eye Joe 5 times back to back, and those people will act like it's the first time they ever heard it.
and
And
Sweet Caroline.
yeah, all of that stuff like that, right? So if you realize that you can diversify yourself in your music, then you'll be able to, if your outcome is to make money and to become a reputable DJ who can cross over and also satisfy all different genres of music and people,
Yeah.
then that's what I would say to a DJ. If you're going to stick to one genre, then understand what that genre is going to bring you. Right? Everybody's not going to be a what's his name? Everybody's not going to be a Kid Capri, DJ Jazzy Jeff.
Right.
Everybody's not going to be that. Those brothers, they really worked on their craft and they became something phenomenal. And so you got to understand, you only get so many, you only get so much deposited in the gift.
Yep.
So you better use what you can with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, bro.
Man.
That's been my journey.
Dropping the knowledge. Dropping the knowledge.
Can see an area. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Ah,
now
we still,
everybody want to put it in.
everybody want to put it in. Paris, jump
We
in and say
still
what it is.
cannot say the word.
Quincy Aries? Yeah, I know it's a Sweet 16. I'm gonna stay with the Sweet
Yeah.
16. Right.
Spanish Sweet 16.
And you have specific music that you play for that. So
Yes.
you don't have to come in with 12 crates. You come in with one crate of what the music they want to hear.
Yep.
And back then, as long as you had some traditional bachata, some salsa, some merengue,
Hmm.
you were good. You were good.
The one thing I noticed with the parties you were just explaining is the crowd. Some of the crowd don't dance.
Right.
They just there to hear good music. I got
Correct.
one of my boys. I don't know if he's still on here. DJ Sky. I went to a pool party with him and playing Billy Joel and Sweet Caroline and country music, and
Hmm.
they was eating that up.
Right.
They just
Right.
wanted to hear. They were in the pool. Nobody's dancing. You got
Correct.
you got a few of your chair dancers,
Correct.
but
Yeah.
they just was there to hear good music. And I
Hmm.
think we need to get back to that.
Correct. Correct. Because, like I said, no matter what type of day you're having, if you want to release that back into the universe, that feeling, all you got to do is put on the right music, and that will change um, your whole perception of
Yeah,
where you are mentally. Right? Yeah.
man. But bro, I thank you so much for giving up your time to hang out. I thank everybody in the chat and everybody who's watching and will be watching the replay for giving up your time just to listen to the good stories. That's what this DJ interview is for, to hear some really good stories from the people who've been there and kind of started this whole hip hop movement.
Hmm.
I got many more coming up in the next few weeks. This has just been so dope, so entertaining, so informative on some of the things from a Connecticut perspective because we only lived in the Bronx, and the Bronx, you know, to Connecticut to Greenwich was not that far, but you lived a
Right.
little ways down,
Right.
and you know we lived where hip hop started. I'll take that one.
Right. Right. Okay.
And that's all we knew.
Right.
But
Right.
man, thank you for giving us a different perspective on this whole hip hop. We are still in the midst of the 50th anniversary of hip hop. It's not going to end until August 10th of 2024. Those who listen to this episode after that. But as long as you're in this before, then yes, we are still in this.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Camille
It's
is
been a
saying
great journey.
thank you.
Yeah. Bless up, Sister. Yeah.
Pamela saying thank
See,
you.
she revealing that's my other name. I was Raheem, and
Right.
back in that day too. That was my attribute. See, she put it out there. That might have some people firing me. That might have some
Yeah.
people. Oh, that's my man too, the mighty squirrel. Yeah, I'm telling you, the ESU thing, we used to kill it, but that was a good
Yes.
opportunity. So I got to thank my man again, Al Lindstrom, for getting us to be on there. Wait, oh, Camille just dropped the
Ah,
ball for you.
no, actually,
She said,
Queens
Queen.
had the most artists, but the Bronx is taking it that we started this whole thing.
Correct, right, correct. I'm gonna let y'all fight over that. We just gonna creep over the border. We're gonna creep over the border and take your territories. That's what we do. See, everybody sleep on Connecticut. They sleep on Connecticut, but
Yeah,
we put some amazing DJs in the game also. There's a lot of
right.
DJs that I didn't mention tonight, but there's a lot of DJs that I know that were pioneers in Connecticut. So yes, hey, appreciate you, family. Appreciate you. Thank you.
So, how
But
can everybody stay in contact with you and connect with you?
all my social media is my name, Rory T. Edwards. You can find me on any social media platform with Rory T. Edwards. You can send me an email at rorytedwards1@gmail.com. But the thing is, I said I'm not hard to find because I need to be found. I need to be found, especially what I'm doing now in
Yes,
the performance coaching and therapeutic lane, because so many of us need to understand why we are traveling the road that we are traveling. Uh, and the great thing is not your fault. So let's
yes,
help you to identify that and move to where you're supposed to be. Absolutely.
yes, yes. I thank you, my brother.
Oh, bless up. Thank you, sir, for having me, and I appreciate it. And I look forward to all the ones that are forthcoming because I know you're gonna have some tremendous stories to follow, and I'm
Yes,
glad I was just able to be a part of this series because this was amazing. This was
it
totally
is.
amazing.
It is. Any shout outs you want to give before we get out of here?
I just want to shout out anybody who chose to join in. I appreciate you for taking your time. Those who may listen, those who have been on this journey with me. Definitely my children. Just those who understand that this DJ thing was, I was serious about it, and I took it very seriously. And I think for those who know, who responded, my man Mighty Squirrel, Pam, others, they know that when they came to an East Coast party, uh, you went home a little wet because we made you sweat, and we definitely did it.
Nice, nice. So, yo, this is Harry the Big Dog. I was here with Dr. Rory T. Edwards, aka East Coast.
Yes, sir.
We will see you next time. We out of here.